Thank you, Armand, for joining me today on Poppy Vine's Meet the Maker. It's great to have you. I'm so excited to learn more about Ausiello's history and a little bit more about you. So I'll hand it over and let you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, that's your first mistake, giving me the microphone. You asked for it. 1981, I was 23 years old. I had worked at carpentry, cabinet making. I worked for a sign shop. And I was in between jobs, and I started working at a beer bar just on Saturday afternoons. Pretty soon it worked into 5 days a week. Very nice family. They'd owned this place for about 7 or 8 years, and they were kind of done, and it was in disarray. What people like to call dive bars.
Love me a good dive bar.
Yeah, and back then, bikers and tattoos were not quiche like they are today. So you got labeled a biker bar. No one else would come in. So they wanted out so desperately, they made me a deal. And they knew I didn't have any money, but they were going to set me up. And so they did. And I got to change the name because it had been closed for about a year. I got to change it to our last name. I come from a family of 13. Everybody in town knows an Ausiello. So I figured that would be a good name for it, Ausiellos Tavern. And I acted like I knew what I was doing for about 10 years, and then I finally knew what I was doing. And, you know, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was my mom's advice always.
Sure. And it worked for us. And it's pretty much, to me, it's not rocket science in this industry. In most industries, it's common sense.
Right.
Stay consistent at what you do, believe in it, and have common sense, and you'll be fine. And so about a month after, I'm 23 years old, right? About a month after, this gal walks in. I'm the bar owner. I'm not just a bartender. I'm 23. I've got it made, right? And this gal walks in, and she's from a big family. I come from a family of 13. She's from a family of 13. I go, you got to be kidding me. Her dad's name is Frank, so is mine. Then the Twilight music started, right? She's got 7 sisters and 5 brothers. She has 7 sisters and 5. I have 7 brothers and 5 sisters. Both of our first car was a Pinto.
Oh my.
Little voice in my head said, turn and run quick, stupid. I was dead where I stood. And it was the best thing that happened to me, because now it was the 2 of us running it.
Okay.
And she worked behind the scenes, and the cook, and I was in the front. You know, you have the back of the house, front of the house. Well, the grill was right there. So she was right there. And the 2 of us did our best we could, and it grew. And at the time, prior to 1985, there really wasn't something called a sports bar. It wasn't a quiche thing. It wasn't everywhere.
Right.
A true, authentic sports bar was a guy that played the game, knew people that played the game. They would come in, take pictures, they'd autograph. In 1981, you couldn't find any picture of anybody unless you knew somebody. Well, I searched far and wide. I went to card shows. I found old pictures of Giants, Niners, Raiders. I wanted to change the image because I didn't want to be labeled, right? Well, then all of a sudden, sports bars pop up all over the place, and we rode that wave for another 10, 15 years in Belmont, and got into it, and got all this stuff they called memorabilia. That wasn't even a word when we started, you know? And we got involved in all that, and again, we were labeled a sports bar. But I've always contended that we were a very friendly neighborhood bar and grill, because sports really only makes you money about 60 days out of the year. You have to be something else the other 300 days. So we put together a pretty good menu, and we catered to all ages. But after 9:30 at night, it pretty much was the 20 and 30 somethings. Biggest part of our day, having pitchers of beer. It had nothing to do with the game.
Right.
So When I do get called a sports bar, it's kind of like, I want to be labeled again.
You're definitely more than a sports bar.
We do sports well.
Yes, you
I
do.
have to admit that.
100%. You do sports very well. And it's appreciated because there aren't actually a lot of places that have all of the TVs and all of that availability. I mean, so it is nice to have that option, you know, for people who are big sports fans. But no, it is not the only reason people come here. That's for sure.
And that's why we've made it, 41 years. After 18 years in Belmont, the majority of my family moved to beautiful Sonoma County, and I thought I was done. I was going to open up a hardware store, daytime, right?
All right.
For 2 years, we looked at all different kinds of businesses, and I was in a place, and the Giants were on, and I was like, cool, and the burger was good. I found a place I could go watch the burger and be a customer. Mm-hmm. Somebody on the Giants hit a home run. I went, yes, one time.
Uh-oh.
The bartender came over and said, can you keep it down, please? That's why we're sitting here today.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So in 2000, we found this location. It was empty. Unlike Belmont, I took over a place, refurbished it, and brought it to prominence. This one, I got to start from scratch. Mm-hmm. I got to start from the sewer line up. And I based it on that same tavern down there, made it as rustic as I could. After 3 months of opening, this one guy said he'd been going in there for 10 years. So I do rustic pretty well.
Yeah,
It only been open 3 months, right? And then the satellite dish started, and the sports bars really started, getting big with all other teams and stuff. We're allowing all these other teams, Packer fans, Steeler fans, We hold on a little dignity.
Yeah.
We don't play Dodger games here.
No, there's no blue.
No Dodger games. A great moment in here is when a Dodger fan has to come up and ask for the Padre game or whoever they're playing. So, yeah. And now we've expanded during the COVID, and we're twice as big as we were before COVID. And we definitely pivoted a lot of times during this last year.
Right.
There changed ourselves, but not too much.
A variety of different things. I know, when we were to go and delivery was an option, I know your son-in-law was out doing deliveries in his Biff outfit, and everyone really enjoyed that. And then the Parklet, which is still here, which is great. And hopefully we'll be here to stay for at least a while longer. It sounded like the state was going to keep that around for a little bit. Yeah.
It's a city thing. And like I said, that was one of the greatest things I've seen a city do for a business, is let us go outside, and that saved us.
Yeah.
And they are trying to put the parameters together to make them permanent.
I hope so. I think it's a great addition for so many businesses, like you said, and it just gives so many more options. And as people are still easing back into normal life, it's a sense of comfort also to be able to be outside 100% if you want to. So
yeah,
I think they're a good option for everyone.
Yeah, we hope it happens. It would be another thing to help us get through it completely,
right?
And come out better on the other end.
Definitely.
So yeah.
So you've been in the industry a long time. You've been in this space now over 20 years. It's a hard industry, as you've just kind of talked about. What keeps you here? What keeps you coming in every day and turning on the lights?
Well, like any industry, I think you got to enjoy what you do. And doing it the second time around, I knew it was my passion. I knew it was something I wanted to do.
Right.
I'm a lifer. I just am. First time around, it was learning. Second time around is I enjoy coming to work every day. It's not work for me. I'll come in 7 days a week if I need to. And a lot of people have the misunderstanding that, this industry is tough. You got to be there all the time. I'm sorry, if you own a sheetrock business, it's tough.
Right.
Everyone has their own things that get difficult, but what we all have in common is employees and customers. And if you can't deal with those two, then you should be an employee and not a proprietor.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's really true. So in building out this and just from the ground up, what were some of the challenging points? And if somebody wanted to do this for themselves, like build a bar or anything from the ground up, what words of advice would you give them?
Breathe through the permit process. That is the toughest part.
Yeah.
The rest of it's easy. It's gotten worse and worse. I mean, it's always been difficult. I did it in Belmont. I expanded that just exactly how I expanded this. I did the same thing, deja vu all over again. And everyone, especially in the construction business, thinks that their city is worse than, well, they're all tough, okay? And for some reason, I think it had to do with the fires.
Sure.
The process got longer and more difficult. And so you can't get upset, you can't get mad. I remember years ago, I was going for a parking variance and an expansion down in Belmont, and the restaurant up the street was going for the same thing. And he complained, he kicked, he even told the newspapers on how terrible it was. Well, something that took me 6 months to get, took him 5 years to get. Yeah. You just breathe through it. You just say, yes, sir, what else do you need? And go get it and bring it back. That's the best advice I can give. I designed everything in here. You got to have a sense of, common sense and feng shui. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of places, they got all kinds of money and they design these places. I go, what are they thinking?
And the functionality is just not
there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And again, that's where common sense comes in, functionality, right? So yeah, that's probably the toughest part.
Sure.
Of the whole expansion and construction.
And then you're downtown Santa Rosa. So obviously this area has changed over the last 20 years and will continue to do so. And I know there's a lot of hopes for what this area will be. And, what are some of the things that you're hoping, like the downtown district and the city can improve upon for the area? Well,
I believe things ebb and flow. I think there's times where everyone's getting out of the industry, and then there's times where people are really jumping on restaurants and bars. And with the cell phone taking away from retail as much as it is, the downtown really needs to have places, bars, restaurants. It needs some nightlife. Yeah. 10 years ago it had it, went away, and it'll come back again.
Sure.
Pride of ownership, I think, to me, someone that owns 5 or 6 places is not good for the downtown area.
Sure.
I think someone that, individual owners and pride of ownership is going to be the difference for the downtown industry. And there's going to be building 2 apartment houses behind us here.
Yeah, right over here on the corner.
Yeah. So that's going to be about 170 apartments.
Great.
All those people are going to want to drink, want to eat, for Christ's sake, And so there's a hotel that they're building, a 7-story hotel over there.
Is that the one next to the Empire Hotel?
Yes.
Or, yeah, because
it's a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that that's still on the table.
And they're almost finished with the extended stay down the street here. So, yeah, everything's going up as it should. Downtown go up instead of going out.
Right.
And I see it's going to grow. It's really going to hit its stride in about 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity, I agree, is on the horizon for the area.
We're ready for it.
Yeah, you are.
We got our expansion in just to get more efficient with everything, 2 urinals in the toilet in the bathroom, right? More efficient. Here we are. Anyway, yeah, we're excited for that to happen. The square, there's a lot of people that don't like it and the way it looks.
Right.
But those are the same people 25 years ago that voted it down when it was a lot more elaborate. It had more trees, it had more to it. And it got pared down over the years because they didn't want to pay for it. Well, you get what you pay for.
We still paid a lot for it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to grow into something. There's a picture of my establishment in the year 2000. There's nothing on the walls, barren, okay? A couple of beer signs.
Well, even the front is different.
Exactly. You grow over the years. You build character over the years. You just can't have instant character. Some bars do that. They have all this money and they put these pictures all over the place that mean nothing. They were just pictures they took out of a magazine and put them up, whatever, you know? So everything in here has a story and there's a meaning to it. So that's what the square is going to do. The trees are starting to grow up. There's going to be things happening there. I really think somebody like the Exchange Bank or somebody big should build a pavilion out there.
Yeah, it definitely could use some shade.
Yeah, a pavilion, and every time there's something going on down there, live at the Exchange Bank Pavilion in downtown, they can get advertisement, you know. So some bigwig should put that together. I don't think Ausiellos can do that. That's
Maybe
a bit
not.
much.
Maybe not yet. Maybe that's the next.
Live.
Maybe that's the next expansion.
Yeah. So it will grow, and I really have faith in the square. They got to get rid of the parking meters. I mean, everybody says that,
Yeah.
but yeah. Other than that, I think downtown's really going to go in the next 5 years.
That's exciting. I'm excited to see that growth, and it's been a long time coming. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so how can everyone find you, support you, come and visit you? Tell us the official address, and then where they can find you online and
The
follow
official
you.
website.
Yeah, your website.
Well, you got to ask Leanna that. I'm just the old guy that don't know how to do anything. See, I failed to really give you the, since my kids graduated college, they've totally invested themselves here. And my daughter Leanna married a guy that's really good at it. So I'm being supported by 4 adults that are really good at it. And you can do something for 40 years and try and pass it on to your kids. And 90% of the time, they don't want to, or they're not any good.
Right.
So I'm very lucky that they not only want to, but they actually have a passion for it, and they're good at it.
Yeah.
So I got my built-in 401ks going for me now.
Yeah.
And I'm just a guy now that builds and fixes and cleans and talks to people where they don't realize how long it's taken for the food to get there. You got to do what you do best, right? So they're running this place way more efficient, and they're bringing it into the future. And I built them this side so that they can take and run with it.
Yeah, it's a great addition. I mean, as we talked about it, for events or parties and, being able to have your own space, I think is really fun. And then that way the bar still gets to operate as it normally does, and people get to have their own space and enjoy their time here. So yeah.
So they're the ones to talk to about that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Leanna next.
There you go. I mean, Leanna was 7. Mario was 5. Okay, remember that.
Right, when they
Their aunt asked Mario what he wanted to do when he grew up. And he says, well, I want to be a Major League Baseball player.
There you go.
He said, well, if that doesn't work out, what do you think I want to do? He said, I'll go work for Leanna at the grill. She was 7.
Yeah.
He was 5. Everybody already knew who the boss was going to be. So yeah, she's running the show and doing a great job.
Awesome.
And Mario is the foundation of he keeps everything cool, calm, and collective. And Matt is Biff.
Yep.
He's a guy out there in the forefront. So it works for them, and it's the way we're going to ride in the future. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Armand. It was really great chatting with you and learning more about you and the family and your history and how it all has come to be. And I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, and congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you
I think
so
it's
much.
awesome.
Thanks, I really appreciate that.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers.